Today, we're in picturesque Draper, Utah. Utah known for so many things as of lately. One of those happened to be the little bit of underground swinging groups of the Mormon groups that are here, but also known very much for our very picturesque mountains, as you can see right here, but also our very quaint and honestly charming little small towns. Today we're going to take a dive into Draper, Utah, which was originally established as a pioneer and ranching community back in the 1850s. So come with me and let's go ahead and explore Draper. Draper, Utah, at the south end valley of where Salt Lake City is located and nestled nicely right within these very beautiful, majestic mountains. It is known pretty much here for a little bit more of higher life living, as far as houses here are more expensive, the neighborhoods are a little bit more influential, as well as the land is still fairly open and expansive. So on top of that, saying that we've got definitely areas to go and do horseback riding, trail riding, running and hiking, as well as direct mountaineering right out the back door is kind of like easy to say. It's very, very much prevalent here. Other things you'll find here are soda shops, and that's just something that is kind of, I found, predominantly in Utah. So these soda shops are kind of like, I don't know if anybody's ever gone to a gas station as a kid and made a whole bunch of mixed drinks by using all the different fountains. This is a shop that does that, charges you a premium and just has specific flavors and flares that they do. Being that Utah, I wouldn't say is a dry state, but alcohol is very limited here due to the predominant religion. It seems to be that people have traded alcohol for sugar. And on that, even though it is very picturesque, it's not without its scandal. If you're paying attention to the news right now, there's a company called Bricks and Mini Figs that seemed to have almost swindled a man out of $200,000 worth of his own Lego collection. And right now, the American Fork Police Department seems to be noting some type of corruption as they are harassing this individual. Don't have as much information on it as I would like, but just like anywhere where there is a lot of people, corruption is about to follow. So one of the things that Draper is about to add, which is a new addition, is going to be a homeless camp. Yeah, you heard me correctly, a homeless tent camp, like what you see in the Seattle areas and things. Have absolutely no idea why they think that this is a good idea. And look at this. This is a water park. This is meant for kids, young adults, mostly kids. Kind of look at it, how colorful it is. This is literally within just a couple minute walk of where this approved tent city is going to be. I literally just drove from one to the next. It took less than a minute and a half. 10-15 minute walk for somebody who is already hyped up on drugs, looking to take advantage of anybody that they can. Now, I probably think most of you would say, well, maybe we should feel bad for these people, and you're right, we should, but feeling bad for them and allowing for them to actually take advantage of what our society is, like they are the drudge of our society. They have become the very bottom. They have violated the social contract of actually participating in society. There's a better solution, and we're gonna dive into that in just a little bit, as I've got a few more things I kind of want to point out about where this is going to be located. Also, another place. This is nearly a mile away from where proposed tent city is going to be. This is an aquarium. This is a place made specifically for the education of children and for the enjoyment of adults, exactly in that order. And we're going to put homeless people within walking distance of this. You can just see from people behind me, it's families, it's people with strollers. They should not be subjected to the dredges of our society, which is our homeless population. That's right. As you can see here, Draper is going to add a homeless camp. Like, are you kidding me? Some of the more picturesque areas of Utah, and for some reason they feel that we need to add a homeless camp to what is a normal neighborhood. I don't know why they would want to invite in crime, prostitution, drugs to this very busy area. As you can actually see, this is where it's going to be. If you look behind me, this is a busy intersection right off of the freeway. So I have no idea what they think that this is somehow going to solve the homeless problem or help the homeless problem. Everything that I've actually ever heard about helping the homeless programs that are out there, nothing works. Nothing works because these people are still on the street. They're still begging for money. They're still participating in crime, hyped up on drugs, using the money that they get from us to just buy drugs, alcohol, or whatever else it might be. Nothing has solved it. But you know what? Today, I want to actually talk about the homeless problem, because I think I've got a solution for it, and we're going to dive into that. And so the homeless problem. Let's talk about that. I feel like it's a problem that's been around since society has existed, but here in the US, we see it everywhere. It's in every major city. You go to like Seattle or Oregon, and dear God, it's like tents right there on the sides of the freeway. Anywhere that is considered city land is open for these people to just come and squat. Now, you may think maybe I'm insensitive or have no compassion for these people, but let me give you a little bit of insight about myself. I was actually homeless twice as a kid. As a kid, it wasn't my choice because parents were irresponsible, couldn't figure their lives out, and I had to be the person who suffered for it. So I take a look at it with a little bit different lens than probably some do, because I've actually been there. I know what it's like to sleep freezing to death and starving. So with that, as we take a look at the current problem, for some reason, states have come to the conclusion that what you need to do is allocate a space for them to set up camp and they can just be their own little society. But instead, it's filled with drugs, crime, violence, prostitution, and now we're putting these things close to where home is. Like, why would we want to do that? So why hasn't anybody solved this? People would say, well, let's build more homeless shelters, let's go this route, and honestly, it's not going to work. The people who are in this situation, a lot of them are kind of stuck, right? You can't get a job if you don't have a house. You can't go out into the world and just do normal things if you don't have a home. Also, if you're addicted to drugs, alcohol, or whatever it might be, there's problems. So I have a solution that is a little bit like a homeless camp, but a little bit different than Tent City. Instead, what needs to happen is space be allocated and people are rounded up as homeless and put into these re-education camps. Now, you use this word camp, everybody's gonna freak out, right? You're gonna think concentration camp. If you're old enough and you know what an internment camp was in the US, you'd understand what that is. But that's not what I'm stating here. But people who cannot have a home because they can't have their lives together and do the things that are necessary to maintain a home, they've kind of lost their right. We've already decided that if you take the rights away from somebody else, that you lose some of your rights. Case in point, let's say something about with crime, right? You commit a crime, you steal something from somebody, you're gonna spend time incarcerated, maybe a short amount of time. Some of that is for punishment. The other part is because you're not safe to be in society. You're not safe for the public welfare. So let's take a look at it from that lens. So I say what we do is we actually make being homeless a crime of some sort. I can't think of how you would actually put it, but it's like if you had an outbreak of a virus somewhere, it is completely legal to quarantine that area because it's not safe for the rest of the world or the rest of that society, neighborhood, whatever it might be. So why not do the same thing? People would say we're taking away their rights, but in the same point, what we have given them the right to do is the right to be drug addicts, to be alcoholics, to be criminals, to be prostitutes, and also the right to die freezing to death, because we seem to be okay with that. You can almost take a look at it and gauge how severe a winter is based on how many homeless people froze to death that night for whatever storm. So if you take all of these individuals, round them up into camps to where they can be re-educated, they are secluded from society until they can prove to get back. But while in this state, they'll have an address. They should be able to work within the facility and earn the right to leave. And people might think that that is inhumane, almost dictatorial. I don't even know what term it is, but it doesn't matter. Right now, as a society, we've decided we are fine with them dying on the streets, being criminals on the streets, drug addicts on the streets. And the only time we have a problem with it is when we see it. So right there is my solution. I would love for you to drop in the comments if you agree that the people should be removed from the streets, and it's not just for the good of us, it's for the good of them. Obviously, they are unfit to take care of themselves. So Just a thought that rolls around in my head a whole bunch. I'd love to see what comments all of you have to say.